All right, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's your boy D-Row, your humble servant. Ready to put in some more work, man, with Aquila and Priscilla Ministries. Thank y'all for tuning in. Today's lesson is about another allegory, right? Last time we was with y'all, we did Paul's allegory. The title of the lesson was, Is the Bible One Big Allegory, right? Well, in that study, I found a couple of more allegories, right? Now, like I said, John doesn't use the term allegory like Paul did. However, when you get into what he was talking about, you see that he's referring back or referring you stories of old so that you can understand and see how to act today or how to act when what John is seeing in his vision comes about, right? So before we get started, I want to give all glory, all praise, all honor to the Father in the name of his Son, Jesus Christ, or Yeshua HaMashiach. Again, I want to thank you for allowing us to come on here, allowing me and my wife to minister through music and through lessons. We greatly appreciate it. Just want to send a shout out to all the Hebrew Israelites, conscious and unconscious. May the Lord be with you and give you strength. And just endure, people. I know Satan is on the attack. And for my wife and I, we just say endure. Right? So before we get started, I want to define allegory again. Right? So what is an allegory? Okay? An allegory is a story, poem, or picture that can be interpreted to reveal a hidden meaning, typically a moral or political one. Now, the thing that throws people off about the Bible is that they seem to believe that the stories are not real, right? That the stories are what you would call it non-fiction or fiction. The stories are fiction, right? Well, I'm here to tell you that that's far from the truth, right? That's why it's important that we look back, right? And before we get started, I'm going to read a couple scriptures, right? Let's go to Isaiah. Isaiah 46. Let's go to Isaiah 46. Just to show you that he tells us to look back, right? I'm going to start at verse 8. We're going to do Isaiah 46, and I'm going to start at verse 8. And it reads, Remember this, and show yourselves, men. Bring it again to mind, O you transgressors. Remember the former things of old, for I am Yah, and there is none else. I am Yah, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, My counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasures. And that's crazy that the Ruach brought me here, because this allegory really warrants you to look back. In order for you to really understand where Paul is coming from, you have to look back. You have to have a understanding of the old, so to speak. You see what I'm saying? All right. Let's get into it. Let's go to Revelations 12. Now, I want y'all to keep y'all marked here in Revelations 12, because this is where the lesson is. We're going to be going back and forth, right? Revelations 12, okay? So we're going to start at Revelations 12, and we're going to do 1 through 6. Revelations chapter 12, verses 1 through 6. And again, this is John's allegory. Or you can say part 2 of Is the Bible One Big Allegory, right? All right, so we're at Revelation chapter 12. We're going to do chapter 12, 1 through 6. And it reads, And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Keep that in mind, a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto God, and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. Now that's a lot right here in this first six verses, right? Now John takes you back, right? And he's also referring, right, to a future time as well, right? So let's look at this, right? He said he saw a vision with a woman clothed with the sun and a moon under her feet, and her head had a crown of 12 stars. What is he seeing here? Well, he's having a spiritual vision of the nation of Israel birthing the Messiah, right? Let's look at this. Let's go to Genesis 37. Like I said, though, keep your mark in Revelations 12, because we're going to keep going back and forth. So just stay in Revelations 12, right? And then flip over with me to Genesis 37. I'm going to show you how Joseph had the same type of dream, showing him that the nation of Israel was about to be birthed, right? And he brought you back to this vision of Joseph, because right after Joseph had this vision, right, his brothers sold him into slavery, and he went off into Egypt. And eventually, right, his brothers and his fathers came and basically worshipped him. See? But he's bringing you here to show you, right, this was the time that Israel was becoming a nation when they came into Egypt. You see? Let's go. Genesis 37. But this is right before that happened, you see? And we all know that Joseph was a Christ-type prophet, so to speak, right? Let's go to Genesis 37, and let's look at this. Genesis 37, and we're going to do 9 through 10. And he dreamed yet another dream, he being Joseph. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obedience to me. You see, Joseph saw 11 stars, right? And the sun and the moon obeyed him, right? This is what Joseph is seeing, right? But remember, when John seen it, it was the 12 stars. You see the similarities here, right? This is why John referred you back to this vision. You see? Verse 10. And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father rebuked him and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee, to the earth? And in fact, this did happen, right? When Canaan was hit with the terrible famine, right? Jacob and his sons came into Egypt when Joseph was ruler at the time, and bowed down to Joseph, right? This is right before Israel became a nation, right? Let's look at this some more, right? Let's go to Exodus 14. Let's go to Exodus 14. Let's go to Exodus 14. And we're going to do 1 through 5. Exodus 14, 1 through 5. And it reads, And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they turn and encamp before Pihathroth, between Migdal and the sea, over against Baalzephon. Before it shall ye camp by the sea. For Pharaoh will say of the children of Israel, They are entangled in the land. The wilderness has shut them up. Remember, he said that he was going to send the woman into the wilderness for 3.5 years. Let's look at this. For Pharaoh will say that the children of Israel, they are entangled in the land. the wilderness has shut them up, and I will harden Pharaoh's heart, that they shall follow after them, and I will be honored upon Pharaoh and upon all his hosts, that the Egyptians may know that I am the Lord. And they did so. And it was told to the king of Egypt that the people fled. See that? And it was told to the king that the people fled. Remember, John said that the woman fled into the wilderness, right? And it was told of the king that the people fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and his servants was turned against the people. And they said, why have we done this? That we have let Israel go from serving us. All right. See that? Let's look at this some more, though. Let's go back. Let's get some more of this. Let's go back to Revelations. Did you want anything? Did you need anything? Okay. It's making sense so far? Okay. Let's go back to Revelations. All right. Now we're going to do Revelations 12. We're going to go back to 12. Now we're going to do 13 through 14. And it reads, and when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, and half a time from the face of the serpent. Let's look at this, okay? Let's go back. Let's go back to Exodus. All right. Let's go back to Exodus. This time we're going to do Exodus chapter 1. See, this is also why it's important to have an understanding of the Old Testament, because we see John is jumping around. You see that? He's giving you reference to the old and also letting you know what's going to happen in the future. Okay? Let's look at this, though. Exodus chapter 1. And we're going to do 6 through 7. Exodus chapter 1. And we're going to do 6 through 7. And it reads, wherefore, say unto the children of Israel, I am the Lord, and I will bring you out from under the burden of the Egyptians. Huh? Did I? Yeah, Exodus chapter 1. Yeah, I was in 6. I'm sorry. Exodus chapter 1. All right. Exodus chapter 1, and we're going to do, what I say, 6 through 7. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. Right? All right. This is the birth of Israel. Right? Let's look at this. Skip down to verse 9, and we're going to do 9 through 11. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on. Let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when they are fallen out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. Remember the woman was afflicted? Remember Paul said the woman was afflicted? See, this is the beginning of Israel being afflicted, right? Came to pass when their father, verse 11. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. All right, now skip over to Exodus 19. Skip over to Exodus 19. We see the woman being afflicted, right? Exodus 19, and we're going to do 1 through 4. And this is a short lesson this morning, people. Like I said, I'm just showing you John's allegory to tie in with Paul's allegory a couple Sabbaths ago, just to show you again that the Bible always refers us back to the old. You're not going to truly have an understanding of the new unless unless you're grounded, right? And have a full understanding of the Old Testament. You see? Because today the Bible is being taught through the minds and hearts of Gentiles. And the scriptures tell us that the oracles and the secrets and the testimonies are given to that of Israel. So how we've been taught today is not according to the scriptures, but according to the minds of Gentiles. You see? Because since 70 AD, Gentiles have handled this word and have taught the word, calling it Christianity. See? And they have cast out a lot of times the old. So that's why we don't have a full understanding of the new, right? When Paul begins to talk about, the gospel. Because when Paul talks about the gospel, he refers a lot back to the old. Just like we see John doing the same thing. So it's imperative that you understand the old and have a familiarity of the scripture so it'll make sense to you. See that? Let's look at this though. Exodus, where we at 19, and we're gonna do 1 through 4. In the third month, this is Exodus 19, 1 through 4. In the third month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day they came into the wilderness of Sinai. See that? This is what John was referring to, right? They came into the wilderness of Sinai, for they were departed from Rephidim and were come to the desert of Sinai and had pitched in the wilderness. And there Israel camped before the mount. And Moses went up unto God, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. See that? Ain't that what John said? He said, let's go back real quick. Go back to Revelations 12 and look at, we're going to do 13 and 14 again. Revelations 12, verse 13 and 14. And it reads, When the dragon saw that he was cast onto the earth, he persecuted the woman, which brought forth the man-child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, and times, and half a time from the face of the serpent. Now, like I said, Paul is referring you back to the old, because we just read how the Most High said he buried our ancestors up on eagle's wings, right? But he also said for a time, times, and half a time, 3.5 years, right? Well, we know our forefathers was in the wilderness 40 years. So this is also letting us know that John is referring to what? Jacob's trouble, right? See, this is why he's referring us back to when our forefathers were afflicted and were in the wilderness, right? Because Jacob's trouble is going to be very, very much similar. You see? Because we're not going to be in the wilderness of Sinai. We're going to be in the wilderness of the people. You see? Doing Jacob's trouble. And those that are keeping commandments are going to be afflicted, right? Just how our ancestors were afflicted in that wilderness. How he purged our ancestors out in the wilderness. The same way Jacob's trouble is going to do with today's Israelites. This is why he's referring you back, right? Because there's going to be a time, man, when you're going to have to only rely on God, right? And this is why he's referring you back to this, okay? So let's look at this some more. Let's go to Psalms. Let's go to Psalms 9. Psalms chapter 9, 1 through 4. This is why he's referring us back, people, to show how our Father dealt with our forefathers in the wilderness and how we took care of them. Same way he's going to take care of you during Jacob's trouble if you trust and believe in him, right? This is why John used this. I'm sorry, I keep getting them mixed up. Y'all, I apologize. This is why John use this allegory of us, of our forefathers, leaving Egypt and going into the wilderness. All right, where we at? Psalms 9. And we're going to do 1 through 4. Psalms chapter 9, verses 1 through 4, and it reads, I will praise thee, O Lord, with all my heart. I will show forth all thy marvelous works. I will be glad and rejoice in thee. I will sing praise to thy name, O thou most high. When my enemies are turned back, they shall fall and perish at thy presence. See that? For thou hast maintained my right and my cause. Thou hast set it in the throne, judging right. See that? He's going to take care of us, people. And this is what John is trying to relate to us. That in our most troubled times, that we're going to have to rely on the Most High, right? So let's look at this some more. Go back to Revelation chapter 12. Why is he telling us this? Why is he telling us that we're going to have to rely on the Most High, right? Let's go back. Revelation chapter 12. And we're going to do 15 through 16. Revelations 12, 15 through 16, and it reads, And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman. See that? We're gonna go look at that. That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. Wow. So let's go look at this, okay? Let's go look at the dragon casting out a flood out of his mouth. And let's go look at the earth opening up to help the woman, okay? Let's go back to Exodus. Exodus 14. Exodus chapter 14. And we're going to do 5 through 31. Exodus 13, 5 through 31. And after this, we just got a couple more. About 3. Exodus 14, 5 through 31. And it reads, And it was told to the king of Egypt that the people fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and of his servants was turned against the people. And they said, Why have we done this? That we have let Israel go from serving us. And he made ready his chariots and took his people with him. And he took 6,000 chariots. I'm sorry. Thank you. And he took 600 chariots and all the chariots of Egypt and captains over one of them. Captains over every one of them. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And he pursued after the children of Israel. And the children of Israel went out with a high hand. And then what did Revelation say? And the dragon cast forth a flood out of his mouth to pursue the woman. See that? This is that flood, right? Verse 9. But the Egyptians, we had Exodus chapter 14, verse 9. But the Egyptians pursued after them, all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, and his horsemen, and his army, and overtook the encamping by the sea, beside Pihitharoth, before Baal-Zephon. And when Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them. And they were sore afraid. The children of Israel cried out unto the Lord. And they said unto Moses, because there were no graves. Now check this out, man. See, and this is another reason why he brought you here, to show you how the people acted, right? To show you that you shouldn't act this way. That if you waver in times, then you might not make it. See, we can't waver, people. Even when it looks like you're about to die, don't waver. Accept the death, because we know on the other side of that is Abraham's bosom. Eternal life, right? So never waver. Never think that the Most High has forsaken you, even though it looks that way. See that? Verse 11, and they said unto Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore hast thou dealt thus with us, to carry us forth out of Egypt? Is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? See the mind state that our forefathers is in? And this is how you see that we are the children of these people. Because a lot of us today feel like, right, that we are good, right? Because we can go in, clock in, swipe the time card. Hey, we good. we don't need to be in our own land. We don't need our own government. See, this is how you know that we're the children of these people. See, verse 13. I'm sorry, middle of 12. For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians. See that? For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. Understand, people. It is better for you to die in the wilderness of the people in the name of the Most High God than to serve your enemy. Remember that. 13. And Moses said unto the people, fear ye not, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show to you today. For the Egyptians, whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. The Lord shall, listen to this, people, the Lord shall fight for you, and he shall hold your peace. Remember that. The Lord shall fight for you. I came across a video the other day, man, and it said that the construction of the third temple has begun. Now, I don't know if you are aware, but the scriptures talk about the construction of the third temple. And once the construction of the third temple is completed, the one who Christianity calls Antichrist, that the scriptures call the son of perdition, is going to show up. And this is why John is referring you back, because we're right at the cusp of this son of perdition showing up. And he is going to afflict those who call themselves servants of God, true servants of God, right? And you're not going to be able to fight him. See, he is going, and we're going to read, he is going to have power to overcome you. So we're going to have to trust that the Most High is going to fight for us. See, this is why Paul is bringing you back. I'm sorry, John is bringing you back here, because we're on the cusp of Jacob's trouble. We're going to read that, right? Because just like the dragon sent his spirit in Pharaoh's heart to afflict Israel, same way he's going to put his spirit into the Antichrist, or the son of perdition, to afflict the children of Israel. Same way, right? 14, Exodus 14:14. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. And the Lord said unto Moses, wherefore criest you unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel, that they go forward. See that? He's like, don't even cry unto me. Don't tell them to go. Don't even act like they ain't even there. Right? And it also brings me back to Jacob. Right after he wrestled with God on his way to see Esau. In Jacob's mind, Esau's still trying to kill him. So he's scared, right? But the Most High said, open your eyes. And he looked, and he had a whole legion of angels with him. A whole legion, right? That the naked eye, nah, you can't see that. But if you get in the spirit, yeah, you're going to see your army with you. You see? This is what he's telling them. Go, don't even be scared, man. I got you. You see that? Verse 16, Exodus 14:16. But lift thou up thy rod, and stretch out thine hand over the sea, and divide it. And the children of Israel shall go on dry ground, through the midst of the sea. And I, behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them. And I will get me honor upon Pharaoh, and upon all his hosts, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord, when I have gotten me honor upon Pharaoh, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. And the angel of God, which went, see that? Remember I told you about that the legion of angels, right? It said, the angel of God, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them. And the pillar of the cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. And it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. And it was a cloud and darkness to them, but it gave light by night to these, so that the one came not near the other all night. You see that? See, this is why, I feel like we had a misunderstanding of the wilderness. Where, and again, I'm not saying what he's shown me is 100% correct. I'm still looking at this. However, he doesn't have to hide you nowhere, right? You could be sitting in your home and all the lights in your neighborhood is out, but your lights are on. That's what's going on here. He provided light for the children of Israel, but the Egyptians seen darkness. You see, he don't have to take you and hide you nowhere. He can protect you right in the midst of the chaos. This is what we must understand, right? That our God is all powerful, right? That in the middle of the chaos, you could be standing in the middle of chaos and all around you, chaos is going on. But where you at, right here in the middle, is peace, comfort. You can even look at when the plagues was going on in Egypt, right? The plague of darkness. I went not just all of them, but since we're talking about darkness, I'll talk about the plague of darkness when it was going on in Egypt. The land of Goshen had light. That's where our fathers were. Our forefathers was in Goshen. But when the darkness plague was going on in Egypt, said the darkness was so thick you couldn't even see your hand in front of your face. Said the darkness was so thick that it was felt, but it was light in Goshen. See, this is the power of our God that we need to understand, right? Verse 21, and Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by strong wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. Then John say, and the earth opened up, right? This is the earth opening up. Picture. I know a lot of y'all have been to the beach, right? The Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific Ocean, or even if you've been to Florida on the Gulf of Mexico, you look out and picture, you see that as far as you can see water, but you see it open up, right? You see it spread. Water as high as you can see and as wide as you can see, but you see a dry land. Come on, man. See, this is why a lot of people say that this is fiction, that they can't rely on this story, because in their mind, science wouldn't allow this to happen, right? But what you got to understand is our God is science. He created science. See? And the brother just did an excellent lesson last night about how all things the Father has given all power, both in heaven and in earth, to the Son. See? Verse 22, and the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on the right hand and on their left. And the Egyptians pursued and went in after them to the midst of the sea, even all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. And it came to pass that in the morning watch, the Lord looked unto the host of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire of the cloud, and troubled the host of the Egyptians, and took off their chariots, wheels, and they drave them heavily, so that the Egyptians said, let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fighteth for them against the Egyptians. Yeah, you see that? And just like how Pharaoh began to notice that the Lord is fighting for them, when the son of perdition is on the scene and afflicting the people, he is going to allow his people, right, to be overcome with his power and demonstrate his power. And this is what's going to show the king of the earth at the time that, oh, the Lord is with this people. All right, we're not going to get into it, but yes, his power is going to be unleashed to his people so that they can show the world that the Lord is with them. See, that's why he brought us back here, man, because this very same thing is going to happen in the near future. See? Verse 26, thank you, man. Verse 26. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand over the sea, and the waters may come again upon the Egyptians, upon their chariots, and upon their horsemen. And Moses stretched forth his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to its strength when the morning appeared, and the Egyptians fled against it, and the Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea. And the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen, and all the host of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them. There remained not so much as one of them. But the children of Israel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall unto them. And their right hand, let me read 29 again, I'm sorry. But the children of Israel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. And I watched a documentary, right, about the Red Sea. And don't you know that they are finding chariots, right, and military equipment in that Dead Sea, and they said that they are marking it, or I don't know the term that they, I think it's the archaeological term that they used, but they are dating these archaeological finds, in fact, back to this time. You see? So, again, man, you can believe this or not. See, we here at Aquila Priscilla Ministry, we don't bring this out for people to believe it, because we can't change your thought process. We just bring out the information to put it on your mind, right? So you can go back yourself and do research, right? Ask for the Holy Ruach to come upon you so that he can give you the understanding, because that's the only way that you can understand through him, right? We just bring forth the information because we've been blessed to have the understanding, right? So again, you don't have to believe none of this, right? But I admonish that you go look at this even deeper. You see what I'm saying? And you will see that history lines up with the scriptures. You see what I'm saying? Where we at? Verse 30. Thus the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians. And Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore. Woo! And it also makes me think about how he talks about Jacob's trouble, when you're going to see dead bodies all over the place. See? Now imagine that. Imagine you walking out of your house, and in your cul-de-sac, you see 50 dead bodies, 100 dead bodies. Huh? Or say you live on 38th Street. You open your house, and on 38th Street, you see 1,000 dead bodies just scattered all up and down 38th Street. See, he's bringing us here, man, to get our minds prepared. Because we are at the cusp, people, of Jacob's trouble, right? And if you call yourself a commandment keeper, or if you call yourself trying to be in line with the true God, you're going to be afflicted, people. And you're going to have your full trust in the Lord, or you're going to take that mark. We're going to show you. And Israel saw, verse 31, Exodus 14:31. And Israel saw that great work which the Lord did upon the Egyptians. And the people feared the Lord and believed the Lord and his servant Moses. And I want to ask you this too. For my Egyptologist people, for my Kemetic science people, for my Nile Valley people. What is Egypt's future? Because after this, Egypt hasn't been no more since. What is the prophecy of Egypt? Is Egypt going to resurface? Because our God just said no more. You see Moses, you ain't going to never see them again. Have we? Let's keep it moving. I just wanted to show you the earth opening up and swallowing up the Egyptians. Now, let's look at the future to come, right? Because he showed you, right, what he was referring to in the past and how the Most High protected his people. And we can go even further. Go read the book of Numbers, right? The book of Numbers shows the whole 40 years of our people in the wilderness and how God protected them, right? But let's go look at the future. Let's go to Revelations. Back to Revelations. Let's go see exactly why he brought us here, right? Let's go to Revelations. Let's go to Revelations 13 now. And we're going to read Revelations 13, 1 through 7. And we're going to read 16 through 7. And it reads, "And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy." Okay. "And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave his power unto his seat, and great authority." Hold on, let me read that again. Where are we at? Verse 2. "And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority." Now, if you want to know who this beast is, just go back to the book of Daniel, right? And that vision that was given to Daniel of the kingdoms that will rule the earth until the coming of the Messiah, right? Babylon was a lion. Greece was a leopard. The Medes and the Persians was a bear, right? The Rome there wasn't an animal in the animal kingdom to describe the kingdom of Rome because of how terrible they were. But again, this is what John is referring to, right? The kingdoms, right, that will rule before the return of Christ, right? "And I saw," verse 3, "and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months." See that? To continue 42 months. The same as what was it? Verse 14 in chapter 12. "For a time and times and half a time." You see that? 42 months. We in the same, he's talking about the same time here. See that? "And he opened his mouth," verse 6, "and he opened his mouth against God to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints." You see that? Just like Pharaoh made war with the saints. This, and you could kind of call him a Pharaoh as well, because he's going to be king of the world. So he's not a Pharaoh per se, but yes, he is a king. He's going to be king of the world, this guy is. Power. We just read in verse 3 or 4 that the dragon gave him his seat of authority, right? And power. Okay? It was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to see that, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds, all tongues, and all nations. Okay, skip down to verse 16, and we're going to read 16 through 17. "And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor." Now understand this verse, okay? "And he causes all. All is absolute. All. Both small and great," right? That means whether you, the trash man worker that picks up the trash, or you the king of your country, both small and great, right? Rich and poor. See? So whether you Bill Gates or whether you the guy that I just gave a couple of dollars to on the freeway ramp, right? Whether you Bill Gates or him, right? Whether you free or bond, okay? So whether you in prison at the time or you free. So it just encompassed all aspects of life. That's what this verse is entailing here. This is taking all aspects of life. I don't care who you are, right? To receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that have the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Right? And we're not getting into that. That's not what this lesson is about. This lesson is to show you that that time is coming, right? And what you need to do in order to survive this time. This is why John took us back and showed the affliction that our fathers went through, and showed the fear that our fathers went through, and showed how our Lord handled that, right? And we're going to look even more into it, just a little bit. Like, we're not going to get too deep into it because, like I said, go read the book of Numbers. The book of Numbers displays it all out for you, right? Of how not only he took care of us, but how he purged out those unfaithful, just like he's going to do in the wilderness of the people. He's going to present all the information to you, just like he's doing. He's put a lot of information inside of me. He's put a lot of information inside of my wife. He's put a lot of information inside of other brothers that's bringing out this information, right? He's put information at your fingertips. You see? So the information is there, right? It's on you to dissect it. It's on you to have the faith and trust in him. You see? Because when this happens, let's go. Deuteronomy chapter 8. Deuteronomy chapter 8. This is the last one, y'all. Deuteronomy chapter 8. I hope y'all getting edified. If not, man, put your comments or questions in the comment. If you got any questions, put them in the comment. And I Lord willing, I'll get back at them, in a timely fashion. But I do admonish you to go and read this on your own. Don't just go by what we're saying. Go read these scriptures on your own. Pause it and ponder, meditate on it. Right? And I guarantee you, if your heart is pure, he's gonna commune with you. He's gonna come and sup with you, man. Like the scriptures say. He's gonna send the Holy Ruach, and he's gonna sup with you, man. Meaning give you the understanding. Give you that which you seek. Right? All right, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 8, and we're gonna do some skipping, right? So we're gonna do 1 through 4 first, and then we're gonna skip. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 8, verses 1 through 4. All the commandments which I command thee this day shall ye observe to do, that ye may live. See that? That ye may live. Keep the commandments and live. And multiply, and go in and possess the land which the Lord swore unto your fathers. And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness. See that? These 40 years in the wilderness. See, John said a times, and half a times, or 42 months, right? That's going to be our wilderness. That's the time we're going to be in our wilderness, basically. Jacob's trouble. See that? But he had our forefathers in the wilderness 40 years. That's why I said go read the book of Numbers, right? 40 years, right? To do what, though? To do what? Middle 2. To humble thee and to prove thee, to know what was in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no. And that's what we're going through today, people. That's what we're going through today. He's proving you. He's proving us. Me included. Don't misunderstand me for you. Don't misunderstand me. I'm talking about me as well. He's talking about we all. He's purging all of us, right? To prove us, to see if we're going to keep his commandments, to see if our heart is on him or this world. And a lot of our hearts is on this world. Ain't got time for God right now. A lot of us don't. Verse 3. And he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger and fed thee with manna. See that? Suffered thee to hunger but fed thee with manna. All right, remember, you're not going to be able to buy or sell unless you take that mark, unless you worship the dragon. You're not going to be able to buy or sell nothing. Right? So you're going to have to rely on this manna. See? That's why he's bringing you back here, people. That's why he referred you to the time that our forefathers was in the wilderness. Which thou knowest not. See, our fathers didn't know nothing about no manna. See that? Neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man doeth not live by bread only, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Lord doeth man live. You see that? To get you to understand, man, bread and water and food is not going to sustain you for life, forever. Man lives off every word that comes out of the mouth of the Most High. Everything that comes down from heaven, that's what we live off of. You see? Not bread. What's that bread called that we eat all the time? Sunbeam. Not with the little lady on it. Nah, not the sunbeam. Hawaiian rolls. Delicious. But that's not what's going to sustain us, people. Listen to what he's telling us, man. Get your mind prepared now that it's this word that's going to keep you alive. Right? It's this word that's going to... See, we didn't have exercise gyms. We didn't exercise like that. The Greeks brought in exercise. Our exercise was communing with the Father. That's our exercise. Flipping and turning these pages. Meditating. Thinking. Boom. That's your exercise, man. Now, I'm not saying don't throw your treadmill out or cancel your gym subscription. I ain't saying that. But don't put all your stock in that. All your stock needs to go into this. I guarantee you, if you put a reading schedule together, like you put an exercise schedule together, I guarantee you're going to see changes. Guaranteed. Or any other schedule you put together. Put a reading schedule or a study schedule together like you put any other schedule together and stick to it. I guarantee you're going to see changes. I guarantee. Verse 4. Thy raiment waxed not old upon thee, neither did thy foot swell 40 years. You see that? For 40 years, they had the same shoes on, the same raiment on. You see it? I like Air Maxes. Now in time of Jacob's trouble, I ain't going to be able to buy no Air Maxes because I ain't going to be able to buy none. Right? But the ones that I got, he going to keep them. You see? You ain't going to have to buy no shoes. You ain't going to have to buy no clothes. What you got is going to sustain you that 3.5 years. If he sustained it 40 years, why wouldn't he be able to sustain you 3.5 years? This is why he brought us back here, people. Because the time is coming. I don't think a stone has been laid yet, but the building of the third temple has begun. I don't know how long it's going to take them. I know in the scriptures, when Messiah said, destroy this temple and I will rebuild it in 3 days, I think they said, how long did they say it took them to build a temple? 40 years? 50, I don't know. Don't give me the line. But go back and read that scripture when the Most High said, destroy this temple and I will build this temple up in 3 days. The Pharisee was like, what? You tripping? It took such and such years to build this temple. So just to let you know, but the construction has begun. You see? So it's time to get your mind right now. Right? The raiment waxed not old upon thee, neither did thy feet swell. Because they was walking around 40 years. He said, your feet didn't even swell. I don't know about you. I walk to the corner, my feet get them hurting. So, hey, man, trust in him. 40 years walking around in the desert. Feet didn't swell up. Come on, man. Verse 5. Oh, I'm sorry. That was it. Was that it? Yeah. Skip down to verse 16. I'm sorry. Skip down to verse 15. And we're going to do 15 through 16. We in Deuteronomy chapter 8. Showing how the Most High took care of his people in the wilderness. Same way he going to do with you when the son of perdition come back. Right? And like I said, if you want to get a more in-depth, go read the book of Numbers, man. And you see everything that they went through, right? Verse 15. I'm going to start at 14. Then thy heart be lifted up, and thou forget the Lord thy God, which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage, who led thee through the great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions, and drought, where there was no water, who brought thee forth water out of the rock of flint. Think about this, people. When the son of perdition is on this earth, there is going to be a drought. The word of God is going to be nowhere to be found. You see that? What does it say? Fiery serpents and scorpions. False prophets are going to be like loaves of bread everywhere. See that? So not only are you going to have false prophets spewing blasphemy, but the water, the word of God, it's not going to be nowhere to be found. Drought. See that? You're not going to have Aquila and Priscilla ministries to go to. You're not going to have the order of Melchizedek Memphis to turn to. You're not going to have the order of Melchizedek Tupelo to hit up. Nah, it's going to be a drought. See? So you really are going to have to be in tune with the heavens, man. See? Who brought thee forth water out of the rock of flint? See that? Remember when Moses struck the rock and water came out of the stone? See? This is why he's telling you this, man. Because our stone is going to be able to protect you through anything, man. Our rock is going to be able to protect you through anything, no matter what's going on. You got to remember that. Verse 16. Who fed thee in the wilderness with manna, which thy fathers knew not, that he might humble thee, and that he might prove thee, to do thee good at thy latter end. See that? Even when it was no food in this wilderness, every morning manna rained down. I have no doubt in my mind that if we still right here in this house that me and my wife is in during Jacob's trouble, we ain't taking that mark. I have no doubt in my mind every morning I'm be able to go out my backyard and gather some manna up. No doubt. No doubt in my mind. Or if not that, I'm going to be able to go in Walmart and get food like I've been getting. You see? In the midst of all the chaos, you're going to have to trust that, man. You can't be like our fathers and get scared when you see the enemy. Oh, Moses, what you brought us out? Wasn't no graves in Egypt. You brought us out here to kill us? Nah, man. Nah. Where we at? Verse 19. Skip down to 19, 20. This is it right here, y'all. Deuteronomy 8, 19 and 20. And it shall be, if thou do at all forget the Lord thy God, and walk after other gods, son of perdition will be in fact another god. You see? Walk after other gods and serve them and worship them. I testify against you this day that ye shall surely perish. As the nations which the Lord destroyeth before you. As the nations which the Lord destroyeth before your face, so shall ye perish, because ye would not be obedient unto the voice of the Lord your God. See that? And this is why the Ruach brought us here, because Jacob's trouble is on the cusps. And it's imperative that you get your mind right now, because although we're seeing things now, man, we about to see some things you never thought you would ever see. And if it be possible, the elect will be deceived. That's how convincing these things that we're about to see are. You see? This is why you're going to have to trust God, man. You're really going to have to get a relationship with God. I'm talking about even more deeper than a relationship with your wife. Even more deeper than a relationship with your husband. You got to be in tune with your God, man. Bottom line. So that's the lesson, man.
All praises.
All praises. Hope somebody was edified. This is John's allegory. Part 2 of Is the Bible One Big Allegory? Is it? Yes, it's a lot of allegories in the scriptures. But the difference is you can take this to the bank and cash it. You see, just like it happened before, it's gonna happen again, man. You can count on it, man. You know? So again, hope folks was edified. Shout out to all the newcomers, man. I hope y'all being edified. Hope this helps you out. Hopes this brings you to the Lord, because that's all we're trying to do. We're trying to bring people to Christ, right? And in the midst of that, hopefully you learn who you are as a people, right? Hopefully you learn how to act, how to conduct yourself, right? But first and foremost, we're trying to bring people to Christ. We're trying to bring people to the real Christ, right? Not the blue-eyed, blind-haired Christ that you see on the walls of your churches. The real Christ. Go read Revelation chapter 1, and they give you the depiction of the real Christ. That's who we're trying to befriend, right? And come under. So again, Shabbat Shalom. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Sabbath. And Lord willing, we see y'all next Shabbat. Shalom.